Baby, my name is Ross Mandell, and welcome to the show today. We're coming to you live from 5-Star Entertainment at Mammoth Studios in the lovely Boca Raton, Florida. I'm coming to you uncut, unedited, uncensored, unfiltered. I'm a little unrehearsed today, but I'm still, I am under arrest. It's so great to be here today, and I got the privilege of talking to you about the single most meaningful thing in the history of my life. Because yes, I'm married, yes, I have children, yes, I'm under arrest. However, 20 years ago, this past October, I discovered Alcoholics Anonymous. I discovered a technology, a marvelous way of living called the 12 Steps. It was first introduced in 1935 by the two founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill Wilson, a New York stockbroker, and Dr. Bob, who was a physician from Columbus, Ohio. Two hopeless, pathetic drunks. I mean, of the worst order, living in a sanitarium. And ultimately, they created this program. It's 12 steps. It's a blueprint on how you should live your life. And they stayed sober for many, 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 many years until they died. And in 1939, they published a text. It was called Alcoholics Anonymous. Hence the name. We call it the Big Book. It's a giant big blue book. It's about 600 pages. The first 180 pages or so is text. It's the program. It's the problem, the description. There's a solution, how to get well, the actual blueprint roadmap, the steps to get well. And the balance of the book, the other 300, 400 pages, is actually a compilation of the experiences, of the stories, the factual stories, and the feelings of the first 100 people that stayed sober, men and women. And it's an incredible book. Now, what's happened is, like many solutions to problems, you have obsessive compulsive disorders. You have the disease of addiction. People are addicted to drugs, to pills, to powders, to behaviors. People are addicted to love, to sex, to stealing. People act out in ways where they just have an obsessive compulsive disorder and they just can't stop. And this behavior overcomes their lives. Anorexia and bulimia, two examples. Rage is an example. People just act out, physically and violently. It's disruptive to your life. If you're going to stay with me this far, maybe you want to find out what's the magic of the 12 steps, because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have no problems and if you're a healthy, well-adjusted, extraordinary human being. The 12 steps are designed to make you even better. The odds are you probably have something like this in your life. If you're well-adjusted, you're normal, you're successful, and you're okay. But if you suffer from anxiety, if you have issues with your life, if you can't find love, if you can't find the opportunity, the business, the money, if things are happening that just seem a little bit beyond your control, you got to check this out. This is the 12 steps, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to step aside here. We admit it. We, the first word of the first step is we. You never have to be alone again. Admit it, a personal admission. It's a personal admission. It says, we were powerless over alcohol, over women, over sex, over drugs, over lying, over food. Keep going. It doesn't stop. Our lives have become unmanageable. Come on, people. How many people suffer and just don't know how to get out of that sort of box? They suffer. You do not have to suffer anymore. The 12 steps will heal, will take you. It's a roadmap out of despair. Believe me, because I am. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. You see, we're all a little cuckoo. If you suffer from any sort of obsession or compulsive behavior, if you can't get that woman out of your mind, or if you have to shoplift, or you have to jaywalk, or you can't stop drinking, you just can't put it down. You keep acting out in ways that you know is just wrong and unhealthy. Well, guess what? You have to believe that there's some power in the universe that's not you, that's greater than you, that can restore you to sort of sanity. Because, I like to say I'm out of my mind. Guess what? I'm out of my mind. Who isn't? Okay? I came to believe that a power greater than me could restore me, could help me. And you know what I did? I made a decision at some point to turn my will and my life to the care of God. I chose to call that power God. But they use very careful words. It's God as we understood him. The belief, the concept of God should not interfere with a human being taking these 12 steps. This is your roadmap. All you have to believe there is some power in the universe. Maybe it's nature, the sun, anything that's not you, that's greater than you. And you're going to reach, maybe it's this group, maybe it's this video. And that's the key, is to understand there's something in the universe greater than you. And you know what? You're going to hand over whatever stuff it is. Now, it's not enough to sit on the couch and just say, take my problems, because this is an action program. You have to do everything that you can humanly do for yourself. You got to get off that couch. You know, you got to get out of that house. Okay? But you're not in the results business. You're in the effort business. And that's a big deal. You do everything that you can do for yourself. I promise you that God or some greater power will do the rest, will deliver results that you could not deliver. Now listen, step 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. You know, what a shock. How many of us go through life and never examine ourselves? I mean, putting pen to paper, writing things down. How do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? It's a moral inventory. Where did I wrong this one? Where did I wrong that one? Not who wronged me or who harmed me. What is my hand? What is my hand in any wrongs that I'm aware of in this little crazy head of mine? And what happens is we're going to then take that inventory and we're going to share it. We're going to share it with this higher power that I choose to call God. We're going to share it ourselves. We're going to read it and admit it and understand it and comprehend it. And then we're going to share it with another human being. We're going to share with them the exact nature of our wrongs. I stole money, or I lied to my wife, or I committed adultery, or I drank too much, or I resented, or I hated, or I disliked, or I gossiped. Any wrongs that you feel are in part of your life and your story, you got to admit them. You got to get them out. Because if you know, if it's in here, it has an effect. It has a result on everything out there. I promise you. I promise you this. Step 6, step 7. We're talking about character defects. Am I lazy? Am I a braggart? Am I grandiose? What are my character defects? This is critically important. This is just something that, as people, we don't like to let go. We don't like to let go. And in this particular, these 2 steps, we literally have to go to God and we have to get humble and say, I'm ready. Take my shortcomings, even if just for a moment. I'm willing to surrender them. Only you know what your shortcomings are. I know what my shortcomings are. Quite a few. Step number 8, we made a list. Made a list, okay? Listen to the words. Of all persons we had harmed, we became willing to make amends to them all. Made a list. Very important. We wrote it down. We became willing. Willingness is so important in all the steps. If you want to heal, if you want to change, you got to become willing. This is an inside job, ladies and gentlemen. An inside job. You heal the insides, and the outsides will flourish and blossom. I promise you that. We became willing to make amends to them all. Not, I'm sorry, honey. That's not an amends. And we're going to get into that when we have more time. I'm on a tight schedule here. I got 13 minutes to deliver 12 steps. You try it. Okay, 9. We actually made these amends to persons that we had harmed, except when to do so would injure them or others. You're not going to go tell your neighbor that you had sex with his wife and ruin everybody's life. That doesn't accomplish too much now, does that? All you guys that are having sex with your neighbor's wife, and you gals, don't take it the wrong way. But you don't just run and cough that up. There are things to do. We write letters, we tear them up. But we make direct amends whenever it's possible. And we seek to do these steps with people that have done them before. You will become a better, different person. Your life will immediately get better if you take these steps. Now, these are the action steps 1 through 9. When you complete them, it's like doing a house cleaning. Your house is now clean. Don't worry about his side of the street. If your side of the street is taken care of, guess what? The rest will work out. Steps 10, 11, and 12 are daily steps. This is how we live our lives once the trash is gone. Once we've worked with the inventory, we've made the omissions, we found a God of our understanding. You know, we apologize and amended and all of that. In step 10, we continue to take personal inventory because we live in the world and things happen every day. Every night, we run the day through our head. Every 2 days. And guess what? When we were wrong, we promptly admit it. You know, I opened my mouth to my wife. I immediately went to her and said, I'm sorry. I didn't let it fester. I didn't let it turn into a resentment. I didn't let it hang out for 2 or 3 weeks because that's not the right thing to do. They use words like promptly. Okay, that's critical. Step 11, we sort through prayer and meditation. I don't know if you pray and I don't know if you meditate, but I highly recommend it, even if you don't believe. This is a beautiful and healthy way to live. To improve our conscious contact with this higher power, with God, we pray for His will for us. And more importantly, we pray for the power. I say, God, give me the strength to handle today. I say that every day. I say, I don't know what the world is going to throw at me. Just please give me the strength, God. Give me the power. Give me the grace so that I can deal with whatever is going to come my way. Because I believe that I'm a spiritual being having a physical or a human experience. And guess what? I live in the real world. There's an exit sign over that door, and I got to walk out of this room, and it's not all hunky-dory. It's living life on life's terms. Now, you're going to have a spiritual awakening. It says that right in the 12th step. You've already had one if you work steps 1 through 11. And as a result of taking these steps, I know it sounds crazy, but man finds God. That's what this is about. It's a spiritual program. You're going to find that power greater than yourself, whether you know it or not. And if you follow these steps blindly, give me blind faith, guess what's going to happen? This power is going to find you. Now, to keep what's going to be given to you, you have to give it away. What's so freely given to you, you got to give it away. You got to carry this message, these 12 steps to other people that are suffering. And you got to practice these principles in all your affairs. Personal admission. I mean, this is so important. If you're watching this video and you haven't clicked it off yet, you just might consider giving this life a try. It's 12 simple steps that make just a ton of common sense. 20 years ago, these steps were introduced into my life. And I have to say, I've been high, I've been low. I've been all over the place, but the gifts of the world I have received. Now, I'm not immune from the terrors of this world, but you know what? How I react to them is how I walk these steps. I've done a ton of service this year. I've helped a lot of people, and a lot of people have helped me. My name is Ross Mandell. That's SSL. I have a website. That's www.rossmandell.com. I'm on YouTube. That's Ross H. Mandell at YouTube.com. I'm on Facebook. That's Ross Mandell. Now listen, my personal email is ross@rossmandell.com. Please send me your feelings. Let me know what's happening. The 12 steps, they were written for Alcoholics Anonymous. They were written for Narcotics Anonymous. They're about any obsessive, compulsive, or life disorder, any sort of anxiety. Work them, say hello. We'll be back with more. I'm so grateful I've had the opportunity to introduce these to you. Thank you so much. I am grateful. We'll see you tomorrow.